And now we'll move on to our second speaker from Raising My Voice. I'm honored to call her a colleague in this criminal justice field and a friend, Rusti Miller-Hill.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Thank you. My name is Rusti Miller-Hill, and I'm here to share with you today my journey. Women's engagement in the criminal justice system is often related to their relationship connections and or possibly their disconnections. Nearly 3/4 of women in prison are mothers, and many were the primary caregivers prior to their incarceration. This is my journey. I became a mom at the age of 15, and due to the fact that I was a single parent, I began to use substances as a way to escape the shame and the pain that I caused my family. Back in 1977, it was a disgrace to have a baby at an early age. So I guess I was a woman of error, neglect, or maybe my own. Maybe it was my fault or someone else's. And I failed to protect my children and myself against something that would change our lives. You know, I always believed in the American dream. You know, go to college, find a loved one, 2.5 kids, white picket fence. You know, just like all of you. You know, that's what I grew up believing in. But instead, I became a 15-year-old unwedded mother, high school dropout, with limited skill set. I turned to public assistance, and I used that to deal with the shame and the struggle that I had as an unwedded mother. These were my dreams deferred. I thought he was the love of my life. His words sounded like music to my ears. And then his words turned into slaps and punches. And I guess the night that he sold me to his friend should have told me that I had enough. But it didn't. After years of abuse, it just became another part of my life. And my only form of escape became the prison cell. I would go to prison, to jail, on little bids, back and forth, until eventually I was sent to State Correctional Facility. 91G 1505 became my name. I was sentenced to serve 2 to 4 years in the State Correctional Facility for women. I became another brown face in a sea of green, because green was the color of the uniforms that we wear. I was lost and confused, and I didn't understand what was happening to me. And it took about a year for me to wrap my head around the fact that here I was sitting behind a cell that I didn't know how I had gotten there. And when it all came together, a man was sitting in front of me. I couldn't even tell you what his name was. And he said to me, he said, "I'm sorry to tell you, but your children are being adopted on Monday morning because you have been incarcerated more than the 15 months allotted by the Agency of Child Services." I didn't know what my rights were at the time. And he said to me, he said, "If I gave you back your children right now, what could you do for them?" All I could do was hang my head and say, "Let them go," because I didn't know what my rights were. I didn't know what it meant to be a mother parenting from jail. I didn't understand that there were people available to help me become a parenting mother from the prison. Motherhood seemed so far away at that point. And so in the midst of dealing with the fact that my children were being taken away from me, I had to deal with the reality of testing positive to the HIV virus. And I thought that my life was over, and that this sentence here would define me for the rest of my life. But see, God is good.
Amen.
God is good. is he placed me in a situation that allowed me to become educated about HIV to the point where I became a peer educator in the prison system and began to educate other women about protecting themselves and how to learn to live with the virus. And that became my ministry. That became the work that I could continue all the way out those prison doors. It's been 25 years since I've been incarcerated, but I still am able to go back into the prisons on a regular basis. In 2012, I had the opportunity to go back to Albion Correctional Facility where I was an inmate and become the deputy director of their HIV prevention program inside. I've met over 500 women in the past 10 years that I continue to bring hope, inspiration, and life to, helping them to understand that there is life after incarceration, that it doesn't have to be the end of your life, that it can be a reinvention, an opportunity, a new experience. The work that you do in your churches is so vital to us. Had it not been for my church family, I don't think I would be here today. They supported me. They understood what it was like to come home in the cloak of darkness, in shame. And they allowed me to be who I am today because they needed to be able to support me and my family. If you don't learn anything else today, learn that the work that you do is valuable, that it has meaning. So I continue to raise my voice for the women who are still inside, who still believe that there's something on the outside waiting for them. I hope that you can prove them right. Thank you.